It didn't matter what I ate. It didn't matter what I drank. My stomach was just out of control.
Now at 4, oh, that awful parasite infection sweeping the country is now confirmed here. So what is it and how do you know if you have it? We'll break it down.
These training sites are really important because firefighters did not have the ability to train to be a firefighter and be effective. And I like to draw the example of a football team without a football field.
Taking training to where it's most needed. A look at how local volunteer firefighters are being taught here in central Indiana.
And it's dry for now, but we're watching the radar. When will we see the next chance for rain? I'll let you know.
Good afternoon. We're glad you're here. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence. Thanks for watching us at 13 News at 4. We have a lot to get to today, including the around-the-clock effort to save a building on the brink of collapse.
This is a New York City high-rise. Let's show you here because what you're seeing is literally the buckling beams inside. Imagine being the photographer in there. We're going to tell you what crews are doing right now to save this structure and the extraordinary efforts to keep everybody safe.
I mean, it's just fascinating seeing this video, hearing them talk about it.
And to find out what they're doing to shore it up and keep everybody safe. We begin though at 4 with that warning before you make dinner tonight. Wash your fruits and veggies really well.
Really well. That's because the gnarly parasite infection is sweeping across the country, and we now have a confirmed case in Indiana.
Samantha Johnson is here now with everything we need to know. Sam, this infection is no joke, and we need to get candid here.
Yeah, we got to be honest. It's not fun to talk about. And this virus, by the way, isn't deadly, but it is not pleasant. One of the most common symptoms, explosive diarrhea. You've probably seen this on social media. A lot of people are talking about it. We have at least 15 cases confirmed here in Marion County. We're hearing reports as many as 72 cases statewide. So how did we get here? What is this? According to the CDC, so far there is no known link to exactly where this parasite is coming from, but we do know people get infected when they eat mostly produce contaminated with the parasite feces. It's horrible. Past outbreaks of this stuff have been linked to foods like raspberries and cilantro, snow peas, lettuce has been another concern for some people. So when you make dinner tonight, wash your produce carefully.
Okay, is this contagious?
This is the good news part of this story. Not really. It doesn't spread easily from person to person. It really is only received by the person who eats that contaminated food. So that's the good news. But it's here. We have confirmed cases, so those foods are being served in central Indiana. And today I talked to a woman, her name is Ebony Johnson. She is now on the other side of one of these confirmed cases. Take a listen.
I've never experienced diarrhea like that before, to where like it's when they say it's explosive, it is very explosive to where you have to run to the restroom. If you don't make it in time, you're gonna go on yourself. I went twice on myself. One time it happened while I was asleep. You can't pass gas without thinking you done had an accident on yourself. It's that bad.
It's that bad, right? Can we just applaud Ebony for the honesty there? She was so candid
Keeping it
with me
real
today. Yes. She wants other people to know how bad it was. In fact, she ended up in the ER because she had this day after day after day. She thinks it was lettuce that did her in her case. That was more than 5 weeks ago, and she says she is still having stomach cramps. Still, all this time longer. So I talked to a nurse today about all of this, what we know, what we can do to help prevent this. You'll hear from her coming up tonight at 6:15. Something we should all probably know.
Okay.
Yeah.
we suspected it would be here before
It's
too
here.
long, and it's here. All right.
Buckle
Sam,
up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Sam. So you will hear more from Sam, but we also wanted to learn more about the signs and symptoms of cyclosporiasis. This afternoon, I spoke with a pediatric infectious disease specialist at Riley Children's Health, and she says dehydration would be one of the largest risk factors for needing more medical help. Listen.
The diarrhea can come and go over easily like weeks to months. And so you may feel better after like a several day bout of diarrhea, but ultimately it may come back. And so the reason that seeking medical attention is important here is because people may need an antibiotic for treatment if they test positive.
Dr. Bumber also emphasized trying to avoid it altogether. So like Sam mentioned, you of course want to wash the produce very well, but you can also eat frozen produce or cook your produce. So maybe instead of a salad, you saute your spinach or you roast some veggies in the oven.
Makes me not want to eat at all.
Well, yes, I get that, but no excuses on the vegetables.
Right. No.
We got options.
All right, other news now in Hancock County today. They are streamlining their emergency response to severe weather. Officials there say this is all about notifying people quicker and more precisely. So first of all, warning systems are automatically going to activate instead of someone having to manually do it. And a software upgrade will allow for that to happen faster. Also, there's a new and more practical approach to activating those sirens. So, for example, if a tornado is threatening the southern half of the county, sirens in only that area will go off. The county is essentially split into two zones, north and south of I-70. They say the hope here is to better pinpoint the danger. And that's something, Rob, that we've seen a lot of counties do, move to more of those sirens activated in different parts of the county.
Any way that you can give more reliable, more accurate, more precise information to the public to have them seek shelter or activate some type of action to keep themselves and family safe, that is all good news, and we're heading in the right direction.
Okay. All right. So, of course, focusing on weather here closer to home and...
Thankfully, nothing like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to know. But it's very comfortable, but that's expected to change.
It is going to change a bit. We're going to go up and down a little bit.
Okay.
With the temperatures. 86 is where we're sitting currently. Temperatures likely going to stay in the mid 80s for the rest of this week, but boy, there's some big changes coming down the line. In the meantime, what we're really tracking is the rain chances. Now, for the rest of this evening and overnight, things remain pretty quiet. We are keeping our eye on some of the showers and storms that are farther to the south. Some of these have been lingering over the same areas, leading to some flash flooding concerns around Louisville. But otherwise, most of the bigger picture shows a pretty quiet pattern, except when you look a little farther to the south. Now, some of these may pop up in the southern part of our viewing area through the rest of this evening, but we're expecting most of central Indiana to be dry through the next few hours or so, and then seeing those 80s eventually turn into 70s during the overnight, and we'll likely end up around 70 for our overnight low temperature, although some of you may be able to get into the upper 60s. Chance of showers is possible overnight tonight. But get this, looking ahead, we're going to start to see some changes here. Now, tomorrow we'll make it back up to 90 degrees. This isn't the only 90-degree day I have in the 7-day forecast, but it certainly will get close enough to that. Most of you will be in the upper 80s. There's the rain chance sometime later in the evening, and that does come with a chance for some severe storms. I'll outline that possibility, what you can expect, and how many more rain chances we have in the 7-day coming up.
All right, Rob, thank you so much. And globally, we're watching developments closely today in the conflict with Iran. President Trump says the ceasefire is over.
Both countries traded strikes overnight, and today oil prices jumped as the president signaled the potential for more military action.
Michael Yoshida has the latest.
I'll give a little warning, we're going to hit them hard tonight.
Speaking Wednesday at the NATO summit in Turkey, President Donald Trump casting doubt on the status of ongoing talks in the ceasefire between the United States and Iran.
Can you clarify, does the end of the ceasefire mean that we are back to a full-scale military conflict?
They violate the agreement every day. They lie, they cheat.
The president's comments follow a night of back-and-forth strikes between the two countries. The U.S. Central Command saying its forces hit more than 80 targets after commercial ships were attacked near the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. also reimposing sanctions on Iranian oil sales. Iran's military responding, launching its own missiles and drones at dozens of American military sites across Bahrain and Kuwait. Trump saying peace talks can continue, but are, quote, a waste of time.
It's going to be really hard to get negotiations back on track. We have seen it happen before, and we've seen J.D. Vance pulled into these talks to try and get things back on track. But it's going to be really hard with the actions that we just saw over the last 24 hours.
Wednesday morning, U.S. stocks fell and oil prices surged to the highest levels in 3 weeks as tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz slowed. President Trump threatening to renew a naval blockade, attack civilian infrastructure, and take over Iran's key oil hub, Karg Island.
He definitely wants to preserve that oil infrastructure because 90% of Iran's oil gets processed through Karg Island.
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida.
And we'll have more on the end of the ceasefire with Iran and the global impact on nightly news with Tom Yamas coming up tonight starting at 6:30.
Well, when you head to the polls this fall, chances are good that you'll be asked to make several choices related to your local school district. So today, Chalkbeat Indiana is hosting a discussion to let you know about these issues that will affect education across our state. So there's several topics planned, including new partisan labels for school board candidates, multiple referendums across school districts, as well as campaigns for different school leaders. The meeting is at the Eugene and Marilyn Glick Indiana History Center. Doors open at 6. It's free, but you are encouraged to RSVP ahead of time. We place more info at WTHR.com.
As Purdue University searches for its next president, they want to know what you think. Really, the Board of Trustees is asking for public feedback on qualities, experience, and leadership characteristics you think are important in a university president. They'll also use that feedback to develop a search profile. One of the trustees said it's really important to the board that they hear from as many people as they can and to be as open and transparent as they can in their search for Purdue's 14th president. We've got a link to that feedback form. You can find it on our homepage at WTHR.com. That's Mitch Daniels, by the way, President Emeritus, who is serving as the interim until they find the new president. Hands-on training for firefighters. This video right here is from inside a mobile fire simulator, which can travel across the state to make sure first responders are ready for the real thing. This training is truly meeting firefighters where they are. The state of Indiana has invested millions into those training sites.
Brandon Schaff took a tour of one of them today in Plainfield.
We're getting a first-hand look inside these hub and spoke training sites. These are designed to help firefighters reduce the travel time to get that valuable training.
This mobile fire simulator provides a realistic, controlled environment for firefighters to train. The trailer can reach about 800 degrees, helping them adapt to working in extreme heat and heavy smoke. They learn to navigate unfamiliar places in full gear and how to put out the flames. This trailer is one of 14 hub and spoke training sites. While the others are in fixed locations across the state, this one can move around, improving access to fire departments in remote areas. The state invested $7.7 million for these sites, with the goal of providing them within 30 miles or 45 minutes of all career and volunteer fire departments. The state fire marshal says this is especially important for departments where there wasn't a nearby training facility.
Nowhere in their county did they have a place to train, and so we're talking like 60 minutes, an hour for them to drive. And of course, if you take a fire truck 60 minutes out of the county, then who else is going to be there to protect the town? And so this provided a place for them to have a place to train.
Jones says Hoosier firefighters are doing more rescues than ever before, thanks to this training. In Plainfield, Brandon Schaff, 13 News.
Well, the Fever are back in action tonight, playing the Sparks on WTHR right here. We got your Fever Minute coming up after the break.
And tomorrow's temperatures upper 80s to near 90 degrees, but it is not the only 90-degree temperature in the 7-day forecast.